Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to the Monday workshop series. So it's a special sharing series where we invite special guests with a unique experience, unique spiritual experience, and especially somebody who has experimented with spirituality to solve some of our day-to-day challenges. That also includes some of our long-term challenges, some of our long-term needs, and it helps us to get to find the solution that we were seeking for, sometimes not just this birth, from births together. Sometimes what happens is, Sister Chandra always says that when you say that, oh, I know, that is your glass ceiling, that is the stop of your growth. The minute you say that, oh, I got it, so you lost it. It doesn't mean that you didn't understand it. You did understand it, but you have to follow through, right? Most of the time we take the spiritual practice as getting to know the concept, know the possibilities, but the real spirituality is when you start applying it, and when you seek the power that spirituality get to offer and exercise that spiritual power in our day-to-day life. And one of that topics for today is, how do you melt fear? Fear is not one thing. Fear is not black and white thing, right? Fear is not just about the authorities. Fear is not that about the relationship. Fear is a sanskara. It is a behavioral pattern. It is some energy which got stuck in our consciousness, which is blocking us, which is coloring our perception, which is tampering with every interaction, either it is relationship, either with our career, either with anything that is coming in our way. So today we have with us Sister Deborah, who is going to share how to melt the fears. By profession, she is a physical therapist, and she has been practicing this path for over 1.5 decades, and she has keen interest in discovering and addressing the root cause of degenerative diseases and emotional suffering. Her lifelong quest for true connection, harmonious relationship, and deep trust is being fulfilled by practicing Raj Yoga. She is the student and teacher of Raj Yoga meditation on the island of Kauai. Is that right? Did I say right? Kauai, where she enjoys integrating the knowledge of healing and spirituality. So hopefully we will get to learn some techniques of hands-on techniques of how do you heal yourself practically. Welcome, Sister Deborah. If we can unmute.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your vision in creating this series. It's so practical to see how do we apply these things, isn't it? Om Shanti, everyone. I invite you to check in right now with the environment where you are listening from. This is going to prepare you for our opening meditation. Turn your attention to the sounds you're hearing. In comfortably. Now slowly look all around you. Ceilings, corners, maybe even behind your chair. What could be lurking there? Nothing, all looks safe. So our environment is being registered by our senses right now as safe. We can relax.
Allow your vision to become soft focused, as though you're seeing without actually seeing. And notice your breath. Follow its rhythm, allowing your mind to become focused on what you're hearing. I am a living soul, beloved of Supreme Soul, my lovely friend. We have in common, the two of us, these qualities of being bodiless, unlimited beings of light, and of being infinite. No birth, no death. We are this free, my constant companion and I, as we play out the role in this earth body costume, the present characteristics of which have age, memories, gender, ethnicity, preferences, and yet that lives as me is timeless, imperishable, free from any form. Also, I have in common with my close friend, Mother, Father, God, these divine qualities, these original and innate qualities. It is so natural to feel unconditional peace. And my very inherent nature is divine purity. And I am possessed of inner power. My nature is heavenly bliss and godly love. I remember this.
Now, come on an adventure with me. We're going to discover the land of true connection, harmonious relationships, and deep trust. I will be sharing how our Baba's spiritual knowledge has had a very practical impact on me, on the life of this soul. And you'll also learn the value of a simple skill that helps regulate our own nervous system. And that enhances our Brahma Kumari life. Start with this journey, which begins in the valley of hiding. That's where my journey began. And where true connection is a mountain in the distance. Don't you just love the sweet state of being with Baba during meditation? The truth is, I can't always get there. Sometimes I can't even get myself to sit down for yoga. And also degenerative diseases and autoimmune conditions. these challenges got my attention. I want to be in true connection with myself, because only then can I be in connection with that one. And this allows me to be a good trustee of my body. Not to mention supporting my spiritual family, my professional clients. A year ago, I began to study trauma healing. I thought it was for others, but I've learned differently. I have the good fortune of being in a distance learning program with a functional medicine doctor from California. I've become aware of why Raja Yoga meditation is so healing. I also understand how both small and large traumas have a lasting impact on us. They become stored in our nervous system. They set up roadblocks to healing. Trauma creates obstacles to achieving that calm aliveness that is our natural state. Let's start at the beginning of his body felt threatened by that stress and yet was unable to discharge the biological response. Years later, an implicit memory of this event arose. Upon delivery, I was scanning for support. I found none. My mother was being wheeled away, and none of the professional staff around me seemed to relate to me as a soul. They were taking care of my body and ignoring me. My immature nervous system made a decision under duress. I encapsulated myself by pulling a metal shield around me. Seemed like a good idea. Survival. As a toddler, like a dry sponge with the water of true connection, I looked through the slats of my playpen. I longed for my wonderful mother to hold me. She was usually busy cleaning. I noticed that she always played the radio and had a bushel of her own fears. I chose to be a good girl and not bother her. I certainly didn't want to risk her rejection. So from this time of what some would call an insecure attachment, I went on to play the part of a little shy girl, thinking she wasn't good enough, becoming a people pleaser and an overachiever. Survive at any cost. I avoided acknowledging my own needs. Don't want to risk rejection. I turned to nature. I found walking in the woods behind our family home was a safe and happy place. My social skills were lacking, but I coped by talking to God. I remember walking to school asking many questions about how to be good and which thoughts were evil. I loved practicing and singing in the church choir. Those harmonies soothed me deeply. At school, I dove into the books. I produced A-grade work. But it took me a long time to complete assignments. That paralysis of perfectionism. Didn't understand these things at the time, but in reflecting back, the pattern becomes quite clear. Fortunately, my father began to take the family to these wonderful concept therapy workshops on weekends. There, the theme was know thyself. They got me through junior high. In high school, I discovered that doing theater gave me scripted connection with others. Rehearsals and performances felt a little risky, but that gave me energy. I learned how wonderful, intentional movements felt, especially in collaboration with others, and I became a cheerleader. I remember one day in French class, I froze standing beside my desk. It was my turn to speak the oral assignment. I could barely stand. Such a wise teacher I had. She invited me to relax, come see her after school. And without any social pressure, I easily spoke my assignment. On to college in Vermont, I began contemplative meditation as taught in the Christian mysticism of the infinite way. I experienced biofeedback, and I began to realize that we can have some intentional control over our nervous system. In 1971, I responded to a strong pull to leave campus and take a mind control seminar in Montreal, Canada. Now looking back, I realize how significant that was. During a guided meditation to meet our spiritual guides, I had a vision of Brahma Baba. This mysterious being looked so kindly. I called him my Greek gentleman. His white clothing was not a style that I was familiar with. And the journey goes on toward harmonious relationships. And it winds through the swamp of conflict to get there. I survived by unconsciously and consciously avoiding any contentious situations. I avoided asking for what I needed. I married the first man who proposed to me. We fought a lot. We attended counseling. We raised 2 children. I now see that I was living in a state of chronic activation of either the fight or flight stress response or the freeze, overwhelm response. I spent hours producing the documentation required by my work as a physical therapist. I would power through my workday, pick up the children at daycare, make dinner, and collapse. I thought this happened to everybody. Sugar and cannabis were my go-to drugs. Also, jazz dance and Tai Chi Chuan, they sustained me. I learned affirmations in New Thought and Christian mysticism groups. And then I had a spiritual reading that revealed something very strange. I had anger in me. I knew not what to do about that. I certainly was surprised to hear it. Remember, I hadn't been feeling much. Chronic pain began. Lacking connection to myself. Harmonious relationships in the home were elusive. Then came the day I walked into work in a very undignified manner with my neck awry. I had such a cramp going on that I could not stand up straight, and it was painful. And after trying all the machines and techniques, I knew only one made a difference, a very subtle form of electrical stimulation. Oh, and I could just feel it let go, and my posture was restored. And a therapist friend who had helped me with that treatment gently suggested that craniosacral therapy was an effective way to heal the cause of the symptoms if I wanted that. Oh, yes, definitely. No Band-Aids for me. What's going on here? So I dove into learning this modality. It's a form of intentional, very light touch. It supports the inner wisdom of the body to release tension. It also evokes the relaxation response. And that tones that automatic part of our nervous system, shifts it back to its natural rest and relax, alive, able to connect, the creative state. That felt good, but it didn't last long. I became comfortable working with patients presenting with chronic pain. I could give them temporary relief. And I met additional compatriots in holistic healing practices upon studying therapeutic touch, a form of energy work that reduces anxiety and pain while speeding healing. It was this common thread that relaxing was important. Having created opportunities to regularly practice giving and receiving these modalities, I was slowly beginning the journey back to true connection with myself. And while attending a professional workshop called Ancient Healing and Modern Discoveries, I experienced a profound shift in my body. My relaxation was palpable. Previously, I had only felt this while receiving one-to-one treatments. That day, I first experienced a full-blown stress response because I was driving into bustling Boston for the first time from rural New Hampshire. That adventure was an experience of activation of my sympathetic nervous system. My eyes were wide, my heart was racing, I was breathing fast, and my muscles were tense. Upon arrival, I became immediately immersed in a healing atmosphere. And it nourished my parasympathetic nervous system. My jaw relaxed, my belly became soft, my breathing became slow and deep. The ambience that greeted attendees was created with soft lighting, classical music, and a magnificent nature slideshow. By the end of the second day of this wonderful time of studying, sharing, I was inspired. I took the risk of going back to my hospital and sharing 2 outside the box in-services on this material, on these experiences. And I didn't get fired. In fact, my director, an occupational therapist, took me aside afterwards and confided that she believed in these ideas also. After being employed as a physical therapist in a variety of different settings, and this was in a new home where my husband and I had achieved the American dream, right? Why wasn't I feeling happy? I saw a distorted past, and I had no clear aim for the future. More of the same was not at all appealing. To have pure and positive thoughts for others requires the same for myself. A social worker colleague provided me with the opportunity to take the MMPI, a psychological test that assesses personality traits and psychopathology. As I was taking it, I noticed a conflicting pattern in my answers. I was scoring low on comfort being seen, and I was scoring high on desire to be seen. At this point in my life, I was unaware of my early decision to hide to be safe, to distrust others. I wasn't ready to have pure and positive thoughts for others. One day, my sister, who was doing some family history research, sent me a letter I had mailed her when she was in summer camp. I was in high school, she was in junior high, and reading it shocked me. My goodness, I sent her a quick text apologizing for being so bossy. I was giving unbidden advice, and she immediately sent back, I didn't view you as bossy. On the contrary, you are my caretaker, big sister. You do have a bit of a tendency to be overly self-critical. Wow. I now see how critical thoughts of myself and others were an ineffective strategy to create safety. Divorce ensued. After both children were out of the house, I responded to the spiritually based call to leave the town I was born in and move to Hawaii. Adventures continue. You know how that goes. I was part of an egalitarian group. We were being presented with the challenge of an individual exerting ego control over the group. For our weekly meeting, I summoned my courage and prepared a brief presentation on the benefits of collaborative leadership. I brought an easel and a whiteboard to the meeting. The action I lost it. A tsunami of sensations arose in me. My mouth felt dry. My breathing was constrained. I had tunnel vision developing. I sat down. I declined to make the presentation. I now realized I had gone into that overwhelm that we call the freeze state. I had once felt those kind of symptoms when I was donating blood, and the nurse said it was a fear-based vasovagal response. Fortunately, Baba finds me in Hawaii. I had this invitation, encouraged by a friend, to go to this talk by two BK sisters. I watched as Sister Jenna entered the living room, where about 20 of us awaited her. I was struck by her presence. She made eye contact or touched the shoulder of those she was passing, but at the same time, she was clearly connected beyond this world. I wanted some of that. I listened intently. I changed my schedule and went to each of her talks the rest of the week. The final morning before she got on the airplane, a few of us gathered. She gave a short class that touched my heart. It started, "Sweet children." It was God talking. I asked her, "What book is that?" And of course, she responded that, "Oh, this is something you read every day in a Brahma Kumaris center." "Oh, where is the closest center?" "Japan, San Francisco." "Oh." In that moment, I made a decision that we were going to have a center on Kauai because I wanted this nurturance. She also introduced me to a young man standing behind me. Michael McIntosh had just moved from England to Hawaii that week, and he gave me the foundation course. I loved learning. To have God tell me that I'm an ever living subtle being. Wow. My meditations launched on that daily. No death. I'm eternal. I'm a soul. We explained life, this knowledge that unfolded. Our daily Murleys on the beach came out of his backpack, which fortunately was one thing he brought with him when he decided not to go back to England. We still had these Murleys. I was having a few doubts. I was wrestling with this concept that there is no omnipresence. This was something that had enlivened my Christian studies at one point. But I finally, after hearing Baba present it every which way, after feeling the quality of the soul that was teaching me and the souls that I had met when Sister Jenna came, I released that doubt. I eventually went to Madhaban, and after my second trip, I was clear that I either wanted to live solo or with Brahmins, and I approached Brother Michael. He found a rental home that had a large living room and a good amount of parking. And there we lived and began teaching, sharing with the public. I taught my first course on that lanai. And that home was the Gita Pathshala, which became the headquarters for Brahma Kumari activities for 15 years. I was still participating in weekly gatherings of an eclectic community. We would circle, sometimes around a fire, and share silent meditation. And then we would give our response to a particular question that was brought up. One day, Shivalaya approached me and said, "I'm interested to learn your meditation." We went through the foundation course, and she was avid to continue studying. And she began studying with Brother Michael, coming to morning Murleys. She's one of our Kauai family. You may have heard her on this Monday series. We too have created Gita Pathshalas together at 2 different times in the past 14 years. Change. It's a jewel we aspire to, and we work to get there. I notice it takes time to completely transform my old ways, and I suspect this path is unique for each one of us. I stumbled on belonging to only God. My mind had been a survival mechanism, and I would not be with him more than a couple of moments before it was all focused on what I was doing or thinking about the past or what I was planning. Having constant remembrance was taking a lot of practice. And there was also this paralysis of perfectionism that had hampered growing the work I was doing for my livelihood. I wanted more time to be in service with this knowledge, but my work days were long. And though Michael and others did hard work on me to believe in myself more, to thrive, I had difficulty shifting this. I even lived in a tent on 3 occasions. About a year after learning this knowledge and beginning to practice Raja Yoga meditation, I registered that change had happened. I was sitting in a community meeting, and there were 2 people feeling very angry. But I was able to stay calm. That was interesting, especially since their anger was being directed at me. I was feeling like an observer in the room. Wow, they are really upset about something. And I could send them empathy. I no longer had fear of conflict. What had changed? Could it be this new meditation I was doing? Wow. Now let's travel to the land of deep trust. I went through distrust to get there. My history of distrusting life and the disconnections I created between my body and my head persevered, though healing was happening slowly. These pre-verbal beliefs can be very sticky. And the disconnection, it was slowing my integration of the knowledge. On the other hand, think how a baby is usually so connected to their physical sensations. After they eat, sometimes they'll, and then is that we do well to discover and remove our blocks. Otherwise, our coping strategies, which can vary from eating disorders to addictions, create further health problems. What is needed is to rewire our brain to heal. Enter the synergy of Baba's knowledge and these experiences of meditation with somatic exercises. Discovering somatic exercises last year has been a game changer for me. They regulate our nervous system, and they're simple to do. Stress. When I was driving into Boston, I was stressed, and I completed it by entering that quiet space. My nervous system returned to natural parasympathetic rest and digest. Stress is a high energy state. It involves a challenge. Trauma, on the other hand, is an experience that causes overwhelm with body sensations as a response. When stress and overwhelm mount, who are you going to call? Baba. Yet, if our neurological system has been dysregulated since childhood, as it has for many of us, because our parents may have gone through similar experiences and they could only share with us what was in them. When we're dysregulated, there can be issues of unworthiness, such as my decision to go it alone. And these survival-based strategies block our connection to our true self from connecting to our true source, from claiming our inheritance from God, let alone imbibing it and sharing it with others. This has led me to explore teaching our Raja Yoga Foundation course with the integration of some somatic exercise. The experiment has begun. Only with a felt sense of safety can our body come out of overwhelm. I think that's very important, especially if we want to learn something, not to mention if we want to be healthy. Somatic exercise enhances our ability to regulate our body's nervous system through mating our need for a felt sense of safety and support. It prepares us for growth and joy. Without the setbacks can happen if we go there as a first response, as I was trying, doing those affirmations. Raja Yoga meditation, which acknowledges our body, vehicle, and its role in helping us play our part as a non-physical soul. We learn to feel the input from our senses in order to become their master. So both of these approaches liberate us. Somatic exercises by teaching us how to regulate our own nervous system, our hardware. And Raja Yoga by having God call us his sweet children. And that can bring out the best in us, like a software upgrade. It appears to me that this combination is an accelerated way to learn to regulate our automatic nervous system. The part they call the autonomic nervous system keeps us safe. It runs our breathing and our heartbeat when we're not thinking about it. We can quickly learn to clear the static that system has developed with somatic exercises. And then we more easily integrate meditation and spiritual knowledge. Somatic exercise is very synergistic with Raja Yoga meditation to open the way for true connection to ourselves. And with that, harmonious relationships. Let's practice a somatic exercise that tones up the part of our nervous system that supports our healing. And that one's called our parasympathetic system, one where we rest and digest. Sit comfortably, feel the support you're on is stable. Relax your belly. Give a breath by exhaling deeply. Inhale, and as you exhale, press your palms slowly forward as though you're moving a huge boulder. Press the chair on the floor, exhale. When the breath is gone, gently let your arms come back, rest in your lap. And notice your body. What is it feeling? What emotions might arise? How are you breathing? We've connected a movement to connecting to our body. It helps. To come to peace with our past, this big job, it requires daily attention. Sounds a bit like our spiritual path. So much builds up day to day. It gets buried in us unnoticed. Now, God's advice is to give him all our junk daily. We write that chart to summarize our day and release it. Let's look at this from the biological perspective. Our incredible body is endowed with what's called the sympathetic nervous system. The acute stress response I felt driving into the city is part of that survival system. However, when we're chronically revved up, as I was, living in a contentious home, it becomes overwhelming. Associated with that extreme ongoing stress are anxious feelings, fatigue, pain, ill health. And it can actually become life-threatening. So our wise body saves us. It produces what's known as the emergency brake, the dorsal vagal freeze. We go into that overwhelmed feeling, the shutdown state. At least it saves energy. It's a Band-Aid, but we survive. I'm going to guide you in a meditation that's a synergy of Raja Yoga and somatic exercise. Let's remember together. I check in with my body. I shift my sitting position in favor of feeling comfortable and supported while softly tall, alert. I enlist my ears to take in my environment. I appreciate cues that make me say, ah. I feel my body softening. I use my eyes to take stock of signals that I am in a safe environment right now. Perhaps I hear my stomach gurgle. Perhaps I notice a change in my breathing. I feel calm and alive. I allow my eyes to go into soft focus. I feel a deep, spontaneous breath. Gently turn my attention away from the outer world to inner awareness. From the world of matter to the realm of the subtle and very powerful, to my soul. I am this spark of life, a spiritual being. A wonderful star sparkles in the center of my forehead. I am a soul, and I have a body. I am an unlimited, ever-living soul, playing a part through this physical body now. It's naturally constrained by time and space, but not I, the peaceful soul. I am an unlimited being. I run the show from my resting place in the body, in the middle of my forehead, behind my eyes. I am grateful to be a human being, a combination of consciousness and form. I notice how I am experiencing my energy. Maintain a connection to the peace-filled vibration created by remembering that I am a powerful soul. I feel full and stable. I feel deep peace. I move beyond feelings and simply be. When thoughts or feelings return, I remind myself, I am an ever-living soul. Feel that fullness, that sweetness, an inner smile. And then I simply be. Gently, we return to awareness of how I feel inside and out. I notice the chair under me, the sounds in the room. I gradually allow focused vision to return. I emerge a grateful thought for this self-care moment. I have added to my safety warehouse. I am prepared to take in new experiences in my spiritual journey. Thank you for your courage to experiment with me. Om Shanti.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Sister Deborah, for this beautiful sharing. So if anyone have any questions, feel free to unmute now and you can ask the questions. So let me check if anyone have any questions, comments. Shivalaya, Wendy, anyone? Sonia? Is it? Somebody else. So we have half an hour more. So if you have any questions, if not, I'm going to ask Sister Deborah some questions. So Sister Deborah, it will be nice if you can share some of the techniques that you use to I'm not catching the word. So you said some exercises that will help, you'll guide us through to relieve some anxiety or panic, things like that, right? So if you can share some of those and if you can guide us through some of that physical exercises, that will help.
I would love to. Thank you for your interest. There is another especially calming somatic exercise I would love you to try with me. We make a sound. Our vocal cords are very close to that longest nerve in our body that's a major player in our autonomic nervous system, the vagus nerve. It runs down both sides and it goes past our heart all the way to our gut. It carries important information up and down so our brain can make decisions about keeping us safe. When we want to experience our parasympathetic state more frequently, more deeply, try this. Let's do one of those. Give a breath, let it out deeply, and take a breath in down in your belly, and let the sound like a foghorn come out.
Should we unmute to do
That
this?
would be fun.
Okay.
Let's do it again. Let's all unmute.
So we'll have a foghorn blowing now.
All right.
Around the world. And we're helping ourselves reconnect our mind and our body with this simple sound. Get your breath ready. Exhale. Inhale. Pause. Notice how you feel. The feedback takes a few moments because this isn't an emergency situation. But let it arise, and it could surprise you. Make a note in your journal if you have one near, or ask a question. We need to feel input from our senses in order to be their master. Baba teaches us that. So if we're feeling a yawn, don't suppress it. That was a message from our body. It's actually a message that we're deeply relaxed. It can be a sign of the parasympathetic state. We need to be the truth to see it. Right? Any experience?
Yeah, I definitely feel more relaxed.
I feel deeply relaxed.
What a gift.
I can feel some tension in one shoulder that I must carry habitually, and it just settled down to the same place where the other one is. The shoulder, the back of the shoulder. The angel wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It makes me want to move even a little bit more, the upper body. It's like letting go and letting go.
Way to become aware and take action on it. And restoring a felt sense of safety, like these somatic exercises that we're doing today do, that is the safe entry point to any deeper healing journey. Well, there won't be the setbacks that can be so discouraging. All the things I tried that weren't moving me forward very fast, they may be helpful in the moment. Certainly, body work was. And it's still something that I offer people. But then I introduce this, and if they're willing, they can go farther, faster. Because we benefit from embracing all of us. Physically, we have a body. Metaphysically, we have thoughts, and feelings, and attitudes, and understanding, and memories. The conscience is a powerful part of us. Though it's not visible, so we need to let awareness of all that goes on physically be equally honored with all that goes on in our mind, in our spiritual self. I, the soul, am a trustee of this body, right? The way we practice daily connection with Baba, Raja Yoga meditation, our timetable activities, I recommend that you add a somatic exercise somewhere in your day, every day. Get that reconnect, the foundation for the growth that we're doing in our subtle part.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us fill the gaps, if there were any, in our past. We can practice going to the golden age now. They don't have any gaps. There wasn't any insecure attachment going on in those families. The harmony in the community presented no conflicts. We're practicing it now. I find that somatic exercises and Baba's knowledge have several things in common. They both increase our energy. We need that for healing, for studying, for being happy. They both bring our attention to our senses, don't they? With both of them, our safety grows. What a feeling it was that first time that I heard God speak and say, "My sweet child." Goodness. And they both acknowledge that we're not our story. They encourage us, rather, to be present moment focused. That's where the light is. Now that I'm regulating my nervous system more accurately, more easily, I've changed. I see this in my spiritual practice, that my clever mind was given more attention than God. I was fitting God around my life activities. But now I choose to fit my life activities around my connection times with God. What a shift. Though I've made no changes in the way I market my work, I am becoming steadily busier. And these vibrational changes affect all life, don't they? So never underestimate that the healing you're doing for yourself is having a profound effect on your family, on your community, on the world. Would you like to do another exercise?
Yes.
I want you to combine the two that you've experienced today. So we're going to get ready to create space with our hands to push the boulder. And at the same time as we're breathing out, we're going to do the foghorn voo. Exhale, inhale. You can go creative. You may feel the desire to push walls apart, figuratively speaking, creating space. Your voo may become rather like a growl. Now that I've noticed there is anger in me, before I spill it out on the world, I do a somatic exercise that's a voo where I let my jaw move around. It's amazingly helpful. Let's discharge these things that aren't useful. So changing our thinking isn't the place to start on a healing path. We have to give our own bodies the vital feeling of safety. And these exercises that we've done today focus on giving that feeling to our own body. You find time to practice one or the other every day. It nourishes our true self because it's releasing trauma in our tissues. It's no coincidence that my phone began ringing with new clients. I was in the middle of studying this work and practicing daily. The pattern astounded me, but it definitely got my attention and kept me on this path. I've been delighted to notice I had less brain fog during our recent West Coast retreat. I enjoyed greater ease connecting the dots of the multiple insights that came up in the classes. As I processed them, I could put things together more easily. And with the energy I've reclaimed during this somatic exercise work, I entered this retreat with resolve, with the intention to change whatever was holding me back from seeing myself as God sees me. What is the problem? It's so logical, but this isn't a mind thing, is it? It was in my body. I realized I needed help to release that early decision that I wasn't good enough. I could only be safe alone. Interesting thought. I was young. While the familiar is reassuring, keep going it as a Lone Ranger, this pattern had to go. It was taking too much energy. It wasn't fun. I let the yagya stories I heard and the experiential group exercises open me to the safety offered by my spiritual family. That experience of community began to release my pattern of fear, distrusting others. It was melting away. Without that contracted consciousness of fear, I can't accept God's view of me. Look at all those titles he gives us. I especially love this one, and you can have it too. I am an ever-blooming spiritual rose. Don't have to go it alone. Not only is God reliable, but he's trustworthy. And I'm supported to step into this newness by my Brahma Kumari family. With this lively awareness, our spiritual truths blossom. And they continue to nourish me. Mahalo for traveling with me on this adventure of self-discovery. My lifelong quest for true connection, harmonious relationships, and deep trust has been fulfilled by practicing Raja Yoga. It was accelerated by incorporating somatic exercise the past 12 months. This subtle synergy creates the state of being alive and well, body and soul. This is foundational for growth. That's what we want. It is my fervent hope that you too are inspired to create a daily practice of one or another somatic exercise along with your Raja Yoga meditation. We led into the meditation with what's called orienting, noticing with your senses what's happening in your environment, discover anything that requires an emergency response. We've just given our body another experience of safety. So orienting is a third somatic exercise you experienced today. That I'm being my true self. I'm free from the fear of being me. It took a while, but it's so worth it. I'm naturally sweet, unassailable. Shiv Shakti. And I'm now able to move along based on Baba's bhavana. As I continue to make effort to fully understand and practice my truth. We all are coming to know our Divine Mother and Father as the source of our good, right? We're living souls, beloved children of God, walking in the world with our companion. We're freeing ourselves from old habits of collecting experiences of happiness from this world. They are so temporary. We're releasing stored trauma safely. This supports our consciousness. We can now hold expanded states of being in this present moment. We can go beyond and be with Baba. Our lives are rich, meaningful. God searched and found us. What a wonder. We are ancestors' souls. Take it in. We uphold the souls of the world. Let's remember to be gentle with ourselves as we rise to the occasion. Each of our paths is unique. We need to honor ourselves. We are being benevolent, like our Father, in order to pass life's tests with honor, that is, self-honor. I'd like to leave you with a song while we have some drishti. Is this the time for that, Harsha?
Sure. So anyone may have any questions or comments, feel free to unmute. Yeah, we can definitely have a nice song.
I have one question, sister. Do you have any resources to find out how, like, where we can access somatic therapy?
Yes. When I see the chat, I wonder if that would be a way for you to give me contact information, your email.
Sure, yeah, I'll send that to you.
Beautiful. I would be happy to direct you in that way. In fact, I will write things down. You don't have to remember them. Got it, thank you. Let me capture it. You'll hear from me soon, sister.
We'll do a meditation with a song.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
Thank you. So you're on mute. If you can unmute.
This has been a wonderful healing journey for me. To trust myself to share with you. Thank you, Harsha.
Yeah, anyone else?
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Can't believe I
Thank
need
you,
that support on
Deborah.
the East Coast. It's great.
Thank you, Deborah.
It's so beautiful that
Thank you, Sister Deborah.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Baba.
it's really beautiful, that especially the ending meditation where it takes you to such a slowness, to stillness, and slowing down is going fast in this path. it brings you much faster to yourself. Thank you very much for all those beautiful exercises that helps us to make ourselves safe, physically safe, mentally safe, and of course slowing down and coming closer to Baba and yourself. Thank you, Sister Fern.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. It's a beautiful session, and we'll definitely love to see you again. Every Monday we have this beautiful sharing, unique experiences, something to take from everyone, and it's another way to get to know our own family. So please do join. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of the evening. Om Shanti.